Well, hello, free people of the Rocky Mountain region. I hope you're doing well. And hopefully, we'll be doing a little bit better here in mid May when the state legislature is done for the 2025 legislative session. Folks, as you know, this has been one of the worst years for tyrannical legislation, authoritarian bills coming to take away our guns, take away our families, and really repeal the Taxpayers' Bill of Rights. I mean, it has been absolutely insane. And in a year of insane policies, I really had to make sure you saw this one. So check this out, this article from the Rocky Mountain Voice from April 16th, 2025. Polis's $4 million legal fund to fight Trump. GOP senators say it's a political power grab. Would not disagree with them there. This is from the Rocky Mountain Voice editorial board. Colorado Governor Jared Polis wants $4 million in taxpayer money to fight off the return of Trump, literally. Under House Bill 25-1321, Democrats in the Colorado Legislature are moving to shift $4 million from the state's infrastructure fund directly into Polis's office, allowing him to wage legal and administrative battles against the federal government, particularly policies implemented by the Trump administration. The bill gives Polis sweeping discretion to use the funds however he sees fit, including hiring outside legal teams, launching lawsuits, and defending state officials under federal investigation. The bill, ironically titled Support Against Adverse Federal Action, has raised red flags across the aisle, with critics calling it a partisan power grab disguised as state sovereignty. It's crazy, folks. I mean, our roads are crumbling. We have $1 billion budget deficit. They're cutting funds from all their little favorite pet projects, but of course, they have to earmark $4 million, $4 million that you earned. The people of Colorado worked hard for. This is money that could be back in our pockets so we could take care of our families, spend more time at home, and maybe take a little bit of a vacation. But no, $4 million in taxpayer money to fight Trump. Absolutely crazy. Let's take a look at the bill here, folks. So this bill is going through the process as we speak. We'll see where it ends up, but more likely will become law. The bill appropriates $4 million from the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act cash fund to the Office of the Governor for state fiscal year 25 to 26, with roll forward authority in state fiscal year 26-27 for any money remaining in the fund after fiscal year 25-26. The bill authorizes the office to accept gifts, grants, or donations for crediting to the fund to implement the bill. Money in the fund may be used by the office in the governor's discretion to hire and employ personnel to retain contractors for purposes related to federal government actions that impact federal disbursements, grants, contracts, or money received by or transferred to the state. The office may also reimburse the Department of Law for costs associated with Special Assistant Attorney General who are contracted for the purposes of providing legal services. So, I mean, it's just crazy, folks. They're giving the governor's office $4 million. It's not going to the attorney general's office, which their role is to get into lawsuits and fight these court battles, but no, the governor. Total political move for sure, folks. Governor Jared Polis is trying to position himself, if you saw in a previous video, to really be this counterforce to Trump. And it's kind of embarrassing, actually, because what he's doing is taking away our money. And of course, there's real threats. There's real threats that the state of Colorado is going to lose federal funding for these ridiculous and radical policies. But look at this. All these legislators in the House are sponsoring this bill. All these Democrats, of course, and only 2 in the Senate. And it's funny because the Senate is always a little bit more even-tempered, a little more moderate. Now, don't get me wrong, they're really bad as well, especially when it comes to our gun rights this year. But nonetheless, interesting to see. I really want you to listen to what Representative Ken DeGraff had to say on this bill. It's great, great talking points. So let's check it out.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to address some agreement that I had with the sponsors, and that is that it is our money. Federal money is our money, and it's kind of finally time that we got to the realization that sending money to the federal government is not what state sovereignty is all about. But let me correct that. No, that is not our money. That is the money that belongs to the tax-paying widgets of Colorado. It belongs to the citizens of Colorado, of the former free state of Colorado. It's their money. And when you have a federal funding, what you've done is you've gone in with all the other states in the Federation and you've decided that you're going to pool your money. And so we did that. And then you have a contract with all the other states. And that contract says that we will use that money for infrastructure. not for legal defense, not for the legal defense of violating the federal contracts. So yes, it's our money. It belongs to Colorado, but not to this body. It belongs to the citizens of Colorado. And on the 4th of April, before budget week, and I have no idea when, prior to that, because this is Bill 1321, so presumably it's late in the game. But it was before budget week that this was known, that this shell game would be played with the money of the tax-paying widgets of Colorado. And we have the Federal Agency of Fiscal Oversight, AKA DOGE. And they're looking at the way we're spending money. And they're saying, yeah, I don't think that's quite in line with the contract that you signed. Now, I do appreciate the majority standing in solidarity and grieving the loss of federal funding, the death of funding. But that is money that we asked to be managed by the federal government as an agreement. If we don't want the federal government to manage our money as an agreement, then we shouldn't be sending it to the federal government. So we need to work on that. We need to work on our priorities there. Now, hey, Chris, give me my phone. We spent $34 million. Those programs were cited, and we spent $34 million. Doing what with it? What was that $34 million for? Oh, that was for Medicaid funding. But what was our stipulation on the Medicaid funding? What was the majority stipulation of the Medicaid funding? That you could not request citizenship. You could not verify citizenship to spend that money. So what that tells the federal government is that Colorado has their Medicaid funding so locked up that they need to concentrate on other states that are less fortunate. That's what it says. Now, when I look at the term slush fund, because the etymology of these words is important, it originates from nautical slang referring to the money earned by selling leftover fat, slush, from the ship's kitchens used for crew luxuries and later extended to describe illicit funds. Illicit funds, illegal funds, funds used illegally. So we put the money into a fund to use it contrary to what we told the citizens of Colorado and the citizens of the United States that we would use it for. That sounds like a slush fund. That sounds like a slush fund. Is it our money? It's the state's money. It's the money of the citizens of Colorado. It's the money of the citizens of Colorado who spent $9 million out of their law enforcement budget to support housing for people here illegally, unprotected by documentation, to be permanently exploitable and expendable. That doesn't sound humanitarian to me. $34 million. We tried to divert some of that funding into legal activities. Nope, that was denied. Another bill to violate the Second Amendment rights of the citizens of Colorado, which the federal government is sworn to uphold. The federal government is sworn to uphold the civil rights of Colorado, of which we have these 10 amendments. Let's see what we have. Congress will make no law that sets up any religion or interferes with any religious practice. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging freedom of speech. How many freedom of speech bills have we violations have been presented? Most recently, to strip the parental rights of people that don't adhere to your ideology. To put them into the warm embrace of the nanny state forever. The right to peaceably assemble and petition for the rights of the redress of grievances, trying to make that process even harder. Amendment 2, a well-regulated militia being necessary for the security of a free state. The federal government has an obligation to protect these rights, to secure these rights of all of the citizens of Colorado and all of the other 50 states. And a way to do that is to exercise the power of the purse, because Colorado is addicted to federal money. Now, I would like to just keep that money in the state, but it's federal money. That's the agreement. Now, the federal government has a responsibility to do these things, and they are looking at doing these things in a way to enforce that Colorado would respect the rights of we the people, is to withhold funding, because Colorado is obviously using it for the wrong purposes. When the Colorado is using its funding, when Colorado is using the funding of its taxpayers to violate the rights of its taxpayers, the federal government has an obligation to step in. And the citizens whose rights are being violated don't have the obligation to pay to have the violation of their rights defended with their tax dollars. I know you think it's your money. The money belongs to the taxpayers. The right of people to be secure in their homes. So they're not deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of the law by either a criminal that's elected or common. There's a lot of elected criminals. So with the sponsor, I agree that this is our money. But the 10th Amendment is about stuff that's not specifically of the federal government. It's the federal government. That would be the Second Amendment, First Amendment. Those things are not supposed to violate. That does not bother this body at all. Violating all the amendments is done recreationally. And then there's crocodile tears over losing federal funding. Crocodile tears are fake tears, by the way. But they're released when the crocodile is eating its prey. What have we done with our money? We've dedicated the money of the citizens of Colorado for no fiscal impact to unlimited feticide. No limit on the deprivation of life of the most vulnerable citizens of Colorado. $34 million for Medicaid funding without citizenship. And we say that we're doing the will of the people. This General Assembly is not doing the government for the people, it is doing government to the people. The federal government, unfortunately, has an obligation to step in. We've tried to put in severability clauses to make sure that if there's a violation of federal funding, if there's something, that it could be undone. And you've painted us into the corner over and over and over again, and now you don't want the consequences. Yes, there's federal funding that is being withheld. The federal funding is because you're violating the federal Constitution.
That was a great speech from Representative Kindegraff. Really happy to have a freedom fighter like him down at the state capitol. You got to speak the truth. You got to stand up, folks. And we got to do that in our own communities. We got to get involved. We got to show up. Any political event, any meetup, talk to your neighbors. Let them know what they're doing. They're taking $4 million of our taxpayer money that's supposed to be there for our terrible roads here in Colorado, and are putting into a slush fund for the governor to use in legal battles against the Trump administration. Why? Because of all of the illegal and unconstitutional behavior of our state government is causing the federal government to threaten to cut off federal funding, and I hope they do. Our state government needs to learn a lesson. They need to stop all of their infringements on our rights. And of course, it's so frustrating that we work so hard to make this money to provide a good life for ourselves and our families, and the state government just takes it away from us, and it doesn't even use it for what they say they want to. They use it for political battles and give the governor this checkbook. So Frustrating stuff, people, but you know what? I'm an optimist. We're going to win eventually. So get involved, show up, speak out. I'm going to be giving you a lot of useful information you can use between now and 2026. But first off, let's get this information out to the people. Pay attention to what's happening, and we'll go from there. So thank you as always. Take care. We'll see you.